So we'll do lots of bits that we did last week, so it's the same. I've got some other bits, so every week it's slightly different, so nobody gets bored, myself included. I'm spreading my feet out really, really wide, almost like duck feet, like webbed feet. And I'm going to just take a little teaser and see if I can press my weight forward a little bit. And then a little teaser and send it back. So this is just about really feeling what it feels like to be stood on both feet. We spend so much of our day stood like this or sat cross-legged. Don't often give ourselves the opportunity to have some nice alignment. Feel like your shoulders are opening. Don't force it, just feel like there's some space happening. Take some breath in right into the ribs. Really let that air out. And do the same sort of action. Just gently swaying from side to side, but keep your mind towards your feet. So imagine that you've got your favorite color paint on the soles of your feet and you're really trying to make the most perfect footprint. So what happens if you go round and round a little bit? What happens if you go the other way? You might like to do it with your eyes closed, or that might make you feel sick. So find what it is that you like and take a little breath. And then let those little sways just melt away until you come back to your center point. Lovely. Be careful not to let your chin rise. Just keep your chin on a shelf. So you're getting some space in the shoulder blades too. We're just going to start to gently articulate the head a little bit. So I'm going to just say no with my hands, but really slowly. I'm tracing my eyeliner across the imaginary horizon. Imagine you're in your favourite place, wherever that might be. I like to always think like your favourite place could be somewhere with a view. And you're looking out across that view, so really see what's around your room. See the pictures on the walls. See everything, good. So make this next one your last one. Very nice, and come back into the centre. You're just going to take another little shoulder roll. Just really easy, just to open up those shoulders a little bit. Oh, it feels so nice to do that at the end of the day. Oh my goodness. Such a simple thing. So just take them forwards and backwards as you like. Find those moments that you enjoy. Good. And we're going to stay one little roll down. So I'm going to turn to the side, but we're just going to stay where we are on our spot. I'm going to soften in my knees and I'm going to let my chin roll. We're going to do some more roll downs in a minute. We'll just stick a little one in here. All the way down. As far as you can comfortably go. So if this is as far as you can go, that's okay. As soon as it starts to feel really uncomfortable in the backs of the legs, stop, soften your knees, and then roll back up again. I'm just going to take 3 of those in your own time. Everyone has their own limit of where they're flexible to. So just find where it is, take a breath, and bend slightly in the knees as you come up. If you feel any discomfort in your lower back doing this, then just take it in the upper back and come back up, and we'll get you a bit warmer. So once you've done 3 of those, and you roll back up, just take another little shoulder roll to bring you back to the center. Nice, very good. So we can take some little side stretches. These are going to develop. So we're using this as a bit of a warm up. So I'm breathing in, and I'm just reaching over, and breathing out. And I want you to think about taking this ear away from your shoulder a little bit. Breathing in, back out again. Stacking that spine back up. Lovely. The other side. Nice breath in. Really relax that shoulder. And breathing out as you tip over. It's getting a little bit of stretch and space in here. Breathing in. And out to bring it down. One more of those on each side. Breathing in. And out. And in. And out. One more on the other side, breathing in. So no pressure, try and relax your glutes, breathe out. And in. And out. Very good. Okay, so whilst we're stood here in this nice place, we can start to think about what's happening here. So our bellies are nice and soft, and I don't want you to be stood there tense, because that isn't the point of this session. I want you to feel relaxed, but we need to make sure that your core is helping you. Now, core is really smart. It does all of the work without you thinking about it usually. But if you want to work a little bit harder, it's that feeling as if you've been knocked in the tummy, or something's about to happen, or you're about to sneeze, and you sort of pull that in, and it's a very slight feeling. And I know that when LP does it, she asks you to think about pulling the belt in really tight, as tight as you can, tight, 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 and then release it a little bit, 50%, and then down to 20%, and then let it all relax. And again, so pull that belt in really tight, so pull everything in, really sending that belly button towards the spine as if they're giving each other a little kiss. And then this time, just reduce it down to about 50%, and just wherever you're comfortable, about 50, 40, wherever you're comfortable, so you sort of feel something going on, but it's not taking all of your mind away to that place. We'll move our mind's eye to your pelvic floor. So imagining that feeling like you have to hold it in if you need a wee. So your pelvic floor is like an elevator. I want you to just really pull in the pelvic floor all the way to the very, very top floor. Top, 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 top. And then just reduce it down to about halfway. And then about another quarter. And then let it go and let it relax. And take a breath. And again, we take a nice pull in. So pulling right up to that top floor. Up, 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 up. And then this time reduce it down to about halfway. And then think about that 50% of your core and that feeling of something going on. Your core is this whole thing, your whole center. It's your front, your side, your back. It's like the core of an apple. So don't think of it as this bit here. Think of it as everything. And it's that sort of a feeling. So we're now going to introduce a bit of strap work. Sarah, this is your cue to call your husband Stuart, as I know he was very interested in strap. So you dressing gown, cord, scarf. I actually do have a strap thing. It is just about opening up the shoulders. I'm going to come slightly forward. So you want to have your hands fairly wide apart, and the aim is to keep them nice and straight. So this is going to open up your chest, it's going to open up your shoulders. So I'm just taking it all the way over and all the way as far as I can. I'm trying to keep those arms nice and straight. So take a nice deep breath in and let it go. So we just do a few of those in your own time. It's really good for opening up the chest, especially like I said at the beginning, if you're doing a lot of sitting or if you're sitting in front of the computer. I think a lot of us are generally doing a lot of sitting at the moment, aren't we? Because we can't go anywhere, we can't really do anything. We're not nipping to the shops as much. We're certainly not nipping around to our friends or walking anywhere much, maybe walk a bit. So this is a really good one. And if you just have your dressing gown, strap or whatever somewhere nearby, and you hang it somewhere nearby and you're walking past, I'll just do a few of those. Do a couple more. Probably feel your arms warming up a little bit. And make this coming back over your last one. Okay, good. Oh, yeah, I can feel that working. Okay. So we're going to develop our side stretch a little bit using the same strap. So for those of you that like that exercise, the nearer you bring in your hands, obviously the more challenging it is, but we're trying to keep it nice and easy today if you wanted to develop that further. So I'm going to take it above my head and we're going to develop the side stretch that we did just at the beginning. So I take a nice deep breath in, and as I breathe out, I'm tipping over as far as I can comfortably go. And as soon as you start to feel a stretch up the side, that's about right. I'm going to take another breath and see if you can go a tiny bit further. Once you think about trying to pull your hands apart away from each other, take a breath in and breathing out to come to center. Stacking up that spine. Good. Take a little rest and do the same thing on the other side. So when you're ready, we take a breath in and we're tipping over as far as you can comfortably go. Just trying to get some mobility. Trying to keep your weight on both feet. We're pulling the hands apart, taking a breath in and going a little bit further. Really stretching, keeping your shoulders away from your ears. Lovely. Breath in and out to come up. One more on each side. So if you're happy to carry on, then do, or rest your arms in between, whichever you prefer. Breath in, breath out. Really lengthening. See if you can go a little bit further this time. Thinking of pulling those hands gently apart, not forcing, we're not trying to do anything crazy. A little bit further. Try and release in your hips, let it do it. And then breathing in, back up to center. Rest those arms if you need to. And one more to the other side, breathing in. And out. Lovely. Start to think about that little bit of core, that pelvic floor. Just give them a little nod, a little wink. Let them know that you're still here. Think about those shoulders pulling down. Another breath. And back up. Very good. Oh, yes, that feels good. Right, put that not too far because we're going to use that again towards the end of the session. So keep that there. Right. Oh, yeah, I can feel that. We're going to do some little leg lifts. So I'm going to take my arms straight out to the side and I'm using those as balance. So make sure they don't disappear behind you. If I'm looking at you and I wiggle my fingers, thumbs, I can see them out on our peripheral and that's just right. So all we're going to do is we're going to do a little lift and a lower. So I'm lifting from the knee. So if I turn to the side, I've got a nice bent knee. It's not going very high. And I'm really testing my balance. Now, if you're stood on a mat, like my mat is super squishy, then that's going to be more challenging. So you might want to move off your mat if you prefer. That's good. So I'm using my arms as balance. You might feel like your arms are about to fall off after all of that work. So you could always put your hands towards your hips if you prefer, okay? I find it easier to balance this way. So we're going to think about our breathing. So we're breathing in, breathe out and lift. Breathe in, out and lift. One more on this leg in, out and lift. Very good. Right, we're going to move straight to the other side. So choose where you want to have your arms. You might start this way and change it. Do whatever you feel comfortable with. So I'm breathing in and letting that leg float up and down. So whilst we're doing this, we're thinking about that pelvic floor pulling in a little bit. We're thinking about that core as well. And you might find, well, you'll hopefully find that when you give some thought to your core and to your pelvic floor, you feel it a little bit easier to balance. So this is all about control and balance. So try and relax your shoulders. Be mindful if you're stood like this. Shake it out if you are. Take 3 more in your own time. So breathing in and out on the lift. And in and out. One more, breathing in and out. Very good. Lovely job. Right. My arm's going to absolutely kill today. Well done, me. Right. One more thing. We're going to do some squats. So they're slightly different to last time. We were doing our log holding one last time and we did our foot raising. So similar position. So we're in a second position if you're a dancer like me. Toes are towards the corners. And we're going to try and think belly is soft, but slight engagement. Hands are on the hips and we're going straight down and straight up. So you will know where your squat is, where you reach your point, when you feel like you've got your toes are rolling in, okay? So you really want to try and keep your weight in your little toes so that that really opens out the inside of your leg. Lovely. So some of you will feel like you can get really deep and some of you will feel like, oh no, I'm not sure. But, you know, just find where your place is. Nice and easy. So we're going to think about our breathing. So you're taking your own time. That's it. Breathe out on the up. So blow the floor away. Lovely. 3 more here. That's good. 1 more. Okay, we're going to do one more bit like this and then we're going to start to go down towards the mat. So we're going to slightly change the position here. So I'm going to take my hands onto my legs, I'm going to take them down towards my knees, thumbs are in front, fingers are on top. It's going to let my bum stick out a little bit. Oh yeah, give that bum a little wiggle. Oh, that feels nice. Okay, try and remove your shoulders from your ears. We'll take a breath in. And as you breathe out, you're going to twist. And then back to the center. And back up. Okay, so this is getting a little bit more rotation in the spine. Breathing in, out we go down. Breathe in, twist, Breathe in, twist back, breathe in, and out. Okay, we'll just do one more of those on each side. Give your legs a little shake if you need to. Only do as much as you're comfortable with. Breathing in, breathing out. So you can go a bit deeper this time. Breathing in, big twist. Big twist. And look where you're twisting. Focus on something. Breathing in, twisting to the center, pushing up. One more. Ready? And out. That's good. Watch those shoulders. Twist. Look at where your eye line is. Focus on something. Breathe in. Back to center. And back up. Oh, yes. Hello, legs. You're awake now, aren't you? Give them a good shake. Well done, everyone. That was really good. Oh, hello. Right, we're going to move down to the mat. We're going to start our roll down. So do have a drink if you feel like you're warming up nicely. And wet my whistle too. So, I'm going to make sure you can see me. Yeah, that's good. So, we're going to start with our roll down, and we did exactly the same last week. So just to remind you, so whilst you're having a drink, I'll recap for you. You're rolling down through the body. You're taking yourself gently out into a box position. We're taking 3 presses. Breathing in on the way down, breathing out on the way up, and then we're walking it back up, reversing the action. So I'll just have a little thought about these presses at the bottom. I'm keeping mine as a tricep press, and that's because my space won't really allow me without bashing it on something. So, but you really need to think about where your boobs are in this, basically, okay? So common misconception about press-ups is that we end up doing it like this. So my nose is in between my hands. And what we want to happen is your weight to be forward, so your boobies are in between your hands and your face is in front. And that is engaging your arms and getting that strength and mobility in there, okay? So we're going to do it 3 times through. And on the last one, we'll sit back into child's pose. So you can follow me. I know lots of you have done this billions of times before, so if you're confident, then go for it and take your own time. I'm going to take a breath in. I'm letting my chin drop as I breathe out. As far as I can until I feel that gentle resistance in the backs of my legs, and then I give in, bend my knees, carefully walking out. Imagine your pelvis is full of water and you don't want to spill a drop. Breathing in, think about where you are, where your nose is in relation to your hands. And really try and get those boobies between your hands. Very good. Then I'm going to very carefully, keeping that pelvis as still as I can, reverse that action, slowly uncurling. So taking your time, take it through the next couple. So nice big stretch. Find those moments that you quite like. Some of you might like to be in that forward stretch. Some of you might not. Breathing in on the way down, pushing it away. Think about where you are. Nose in relation to your hands. Keeping it still on the way back. Try not to hold your breath. Try and really think about those moments when you do think about your breath, because I know how hard it is to think about breathing in your core and your pelvic floor. It's ridiculous, really. But on the moments when you do think, oh, I think I'm holding my breath, just take your mind into that breath and really blow it away. So I'm on my last one, and then I'm going to sit myself back into child's pose. So I'm releasing my toes. I'm separating my knees to allow my tummy to have some space, and just resting my forehead on the mat. Don't overstretch it. Just take your fingers for a little walk. So we get a nice stretch down the back. And like I said last week, don't feel like you have to stay still. I quite like a little wiggle here and there. Maybe move your head from side to side. Don't overstretch your arms. It should feel quite relaxed, especially with your knees separated. It should feel nice and relaxed. Amazing. Right, good. So stay in your child pose. Take a couple of breaths. And then when you're ready, we're going to come up to cat camel. So we're in this all fours. This looks like a little tail. My cat, Bacon, is actually watching me this time. He's just there off camera. Sort of putting me off, if I'm honest. So I'm in a lovely box shape, trying to get my wrist and shoulder, knee and hip in line with each other. So we're making all the points of the box. You take a nice deep breath in. And as you do, really lift that chin. Let the belly really sink down towards the floor and really round your bum. And then we reverse the action and we're tucking your belly button up. Head goes down in between the arms and you're looking all the way down through your knees. Lovely, breathing in. Really let it go. This is a great one if you've got lower back problems. Breathing out. And in. So we just do a few of those in your own time. So if you do have lower back problems, which I do as well, try not to be afraid of this. I think often if you have back problems or any ailments in your body, then you stop moving in a certain way because you're afraid that it's going to hurt. And that's when we get all tensed up. And what you want to do is increase your flexibility and mobility in your spine so that it doesn't have all that extra inflammation. So we're going to do one more, coming down. Really drop that chin and then coming out of it, and once again just sitting back into your child's pose. So separate the knees, head down towards the mat, relax the shoulders, let the head move from side to side, and taking a couple of nice deep breaths. Because although we do all that breathing with cat camel, sometimes it feels a bit controlled. Okay, so we're going to move into our same foot exercises and leg exercises that we did last week. This is where I'm going to have my cushion because I like comfort. So I'm going to take my cushion over there, get my elbow on it. So I'll keep these the same. Know what we're doing. Nice line of the body. Remember, we're stacking your hips on top of each other, trying to not let there be sinking ear to shoulder. So pulling up out there, pulling up in the rib cage, using that cushion just for an extra bit of comfort. Relax your feet, and when you're ready, I've got my hand here, just taking some gentle leg raises. Now, it's not going to go massively high because you're in a parallel, so the physiology of our body doesn't allow it. If we were turned out, woo, yeah, we could go full on Jane Fonda, but we are not. We're keeping it quite small. If you want to work a little bit harder, don't let those feet meet. Just let them hover up and down, okay? Remember to breathe. Take some breaths. Think of sending the energy out the top of your head and lifting up. Lovely. Very nice. If you want to work even harder, if you slightly turn that foot in, you're going to feel it right up the back of this part of your leg, okay? So if you have a slight rotation, if you want to work hard today, then do. And remember to stop when it feels awful. You'll give it a shake. Yeah, give it a shake. Very good. So we're going to give it a little stop, give it a little squeeze if you need to. Rotation. I'm going to take it into the ends. So I'm making an M shape and bringing it back. And when I bring it back, I want my foot to go behind my other foot. So go forwards and back and behind. Forwards and back and behind. That's good. The bigger you make your ends, the more intense this is going to feel. I use that word politely. We're going to do one more because I'm really feeling it. Very good. Bring that knee in. Goodness me, that was a hardcore one. All right, let's have a proper rest. So take yourself right down, get yourself comfy. Give your leg a squeeze, give it a shake, whatever it is that you need to do to get that lactic acid moving a bit. And so I just take that working leg and I rest it. So it's right over in front of me. There. And then all of this action is coming from your pelvic floor, if you remember. Using your pelvic floor to squeeze and lift that stretched underneath leg off your floor. So I'm trying to not lift my leg with my brain telling me to lift my leg. My brain is telling me to squeeze my pelvic floor so much that my leg moves. Now, it could be that it literally does nothing. It could be that it has a tiny move. It might be that you can take it off. There's going to be such varying levels. But even if you feel like there's nothing, but you can feel that your glutes are tensing up, it's doing something, okay? So find what it is. Now, if you are into being able to get your breath going the same way, some of you I know are pretty good, then we want to be thinking, breathing in as you relax and out as you tense. Nice, good. I find it's good to close your eyes when you do this one. Really gets your brain to focus. And do one more. Very nice. Just bring your knees in towards your chest. Give them a little squeeze. Have a little relax. And then very slowly we're going to come up to sitting before we go on to the other side. So do take your time. Now this is where I like to have my giant, I like to sit on Tina, as in Tina Turner. So I'm going to sit on my book, my big fat book. You might want to sit on your cushion. I like to sit on it because I have really, really tight hips. And I do find if I just sit on there, it just helps a little bit, just gives it a little bit of space, makes it feel less uncomfortable. So if you need to, so last week we did some barn doors. This week we're going to do something different with our arms. So I'm going to take my arms as if I'm holding a tray. And so I want you to think about pulling your shoulder blades down. So try not to roll everything forward. If it helps, roll your shoulders back, so open up that chest. And I'm just going to rotate my wrists. So I'm trying to keep the rest of my arm fairly still. I've done some bits, I know, with the strap and everything, which have got your arms working. And if you were doing the leg lifts, holding your arms out, very arm into them. So just gently as you can. We'll do 3 and 2 and 1. We're going to do some circles. If you need to rest your arms at any point, just rest. Take a breath and join back in. If you can feel yourself tensing, that's not good. So take a breath, shake your arms out. Join back in when you're ready, if you're ready. So little circles. Thinking, pulling my shoulder blades down towards the base of my spine. Got a nice long neck. Careful not to lift your chin. Keep your chin in check. Sending it back the other way. So these are all very good, obviously, for the whole arm. Pretty good if you feel like you're not confident with your arms, particularly the top half of your arms. I know that's something I get asked often. Okay, just give me a little shake. Very nice. We do one more little bit for the arms, and then we're going to go and do our legs on the other side. So I'm going to take my arms to 90-degree angles. I want you to take them slightly behind you so you feel like your ribs are really expanding. And then I'm just bringing them in and out. Breathing out, breathe in. As you're going, just be careful that your elbows don't drop. You want to really try and keep your elbows at shoulder height. Again, when it gets too much, just stop. And if you can join back in, that's wonderful. If you can't, then just take a few breaths, close your eyes, do whatever you need to do. It's pretty intense in the arms today. And I will admit, when I was creating this beautiful class, I didn't actually do it all. So we're going to do 3 more. If you can, 2 more. Last one. And give them a shake. Oh, wowza, that was a good one. Hello. Right, when you're ready, grab your cushion. We're going to go down to the other side. And then move Tina from my bum. Over she goes. Okay. So exactly the same thing. We start off up on our elbow, nice and comfy, thinking about rolling the hips over. So you're on your hip bone and then a bit further forward. So I'm using that fleshy bit of my thigh to kind of balance on, and my hand. Okay, look down the body. Know if you're in a straight line. Know if your feet are pointing towards the corner of your mat or towards the center of your mat. Yeah, good. So we just take some gentle leg raises when you're ready, using my hand to support. You can, of course, there's lots of different ways you can make this more tricky if you fancy it on a Wednesday. Or if you don't, then don't. Slight rotation of the foot, like I said before. And not letting your feet meet on the down. Good. Remember that you're breathing out on the exertion. So if you're really trying to focus on your breathing today, you're breathing out on the up. Good. Whilst we're there, cast your mind towards your core, the pelvic floor, whilst the legs are doing all this hard work. Your core is working as well. We'll do 3 more. And 2 and 1. Oh my gosh, well done. Give it a squeeze. Hello. Wowzers. Right, we're going to do some M&Ms. I shouldn't really call them M&Ms because it just makes us think of those naughty little chocolatey sweets. Actually, you should think of them. Go and have a bag of M&Ms afterwards. Who cares? So we're going to take our legs when you're ready in some forward, ends and back and behind. So we just get really try and consider what the top half of the body's doing. If you feel like you're rocking and rolling all over the place, you might feel more comfortable down on your elbow or even flat. Okay, that's going to present different sorts of users of your core. But, you know, it's all working the same areas, just to varying points of the same areas. So it's working just as hard whether you're up on your elbow or not. So figure out where you want to be. And we're going to do 2 more of those. So the bigger and bouncier you make that M shape, the more intense it's going to feel. Last one. And rest. Oh, yes, lovely. Right, let's get really comfy. Time to close your eyes and think about your pelvic floor. So taking that top leg, when you feel it's ready, sliding it on top. Really nice, comfy position here. And everything is coming from that pelvic floor. So I like to close my eyes, like I said, as I feel like I can figure out what it is. So we're really trying to think of the pelvic floor and can we engage it and squeeze it so much that it makes that underneath leg do something. Some involuntary action. It's quite clever. Such a good exercise, especially if you suffer with a weaker pelvic floor, particularly if you've had children. It's a really, really good one to do that you could do whilst you were watching the telly, you know, with your Netflix. But sometimes I think it's easier to think, oh, I'm going to try and do 10 or 12, squeeze and get my leg together, than just thinking, oh, I'm going to use my pelvic floor, because you feel like getting an action reaction. So if we're breathing, remember you're breathing out as you squeeze in. So you breathe out as you squeeze. Breathe in as you relax. And the relax is just as important as the squeeze. So when you relax, really relax. And take your time. I'm going to do 3 more in your own time. Very good. Okay, lovely. When you're on your last one, just make your way so you're flat on your back. Keep your cushion for comfort. Keep that there. So take your time. If you need to have a drink, obviously just keep hydrated as you go. Okay. Okay. So I think I said last week I quite like to have a cushion because I feel like it helps me to imprint my spine a little bit better. I feel like if I take it away, it's really hard and all those other things start to happen. And also, it's just loads more comfortable, let's be honest. May as well be comfortable. So, thinking about that nice straight line, earlobes, shoulders, hips, knees, ankles, big toes, all going down like tram lines. Lovely and straight. Relaxing your hands down by your side, palms down. And then relax. Let it go. Think about what your spine feels like. Think about if that is uncomfortable, and if it is uncomfortable because of a natural curve in your spine, just maybe press and tilt your pelvis to let your spine be in more contact with the mat. Figure out what it is that you need to make that as comfortable as you can. You should have enough space under your spine, or a feeling of space, as if you could post a letter, because that's how we naturally are. We have a curve in the spine. We don't want to be over pressing it. We want to let it be. Take a nice deep breath, and breathe out. And then just gently, just rock your pelvis back and forth. As I said last week, if you imagine that you've got 3 points, you've got each of your hip bones, then you've got your pubic bone, and it makes like a triangle shape. And you want to have that as flat as you can. So it's not that the hip bones are higher than the pelvic bone or vice versa. So you want to just rolling backwards and forwards until you figure out where that is. I know when LP's teaching, she uses the idea of like a blueberry, rolling a blueberry across your belly. So just find that visual and then sort of figure out where you feel like your flat space is. Nice. Very good. And then thinking about your belly button being 12 o'clock, your pubic bone being 6 o'clock, and your hips being 3 and 9 o'clock. So you have this real sense of space. And where that clock face is, that's where our focus is going to be, keeping that nice and still. So if you have got that blueberry in your mind, you want to try and keep it within that clock face and as still as it possibly can be. So we're going to keep one foot flat on the floor. Let's take the other leg out, stretch, and we're just going to do some gentle circles. Okay. You don't have to have your leg straight, you can have it soft. So this is starting to think about how we use our core. Obviously, the bigger your circle, the more you're going to feel like it's harder to keep that blueberry still. Be mindful about where your shoulders are. Don't wear your shoulders as earrings, so really draw them down your back and just tuck your chin in ever so slightly. And then when you're ready on that next circle, we're going to take it back. Rest when you need to, and join back in when you need to, no stress. 3, 2, 1, and give it a little hug and a squeeze. Excellent. Give your foot a little rotation and take it back. Just find a moment. I like to have a little wiggle. I love a little wiggle. And then when you feel like you've got that place back, think about that flat clock face. And then we're going to take the other leg out. So a little stretch. My circles are going to be really small because either I'm going to kick my furniture or I'm going to set myself alight on a candle. Oh well, here we go. So nice gentle circles. Try not to hold your breath. Even if you find it challenging, to consider when your ins and outs are in Pilates, because it is a bit of a mind ache. Just take your mind to your breath. And then take it the other way. So it'll feel really hard the other way. It'll feel like your leg is made of lead. And that's okay. Your leg is really heavy. You're doing an amazing job. So rest if you need to. When you've done enough, do enough. Take a breath. Just do what you need to do. Listen to your body. 3, 2, 1, and rest. Bring that in towards your chest. Take a little breath. And breathe out. Okay, just take your legs straight. I have a whole body stretch. Right, you just woke up. It's a nice one to do. Oh, as if you're in a tug of war. Okay, so we're going to do like a knee tuck. Again, I'm going to struggle with this because of my space, but hey ho. I'm tucking my knees in and my arms are doing a little circle. So try not to look at my far away arm. Look at the arm that's nearest to you. Okay. So I'm tucking them in and out. Now you can join in with me when you're ready. You can take your head off of your cushion if you want to work a bit harder. If it's too hard to stretch your legs out towards the floor, then stretch them up towards the ceiling and keep your head on the mat. So find where it is. If it's too much for you to fully extend your legs, don't do it. Just find that point where you think, oh gosh, yeah, I can feel that. If you're breathing in, on the in, out on the out. Think about that lovely clock face. Think about 3 and 9 o'clock pulling apart as you stretch out. Really nice and flat. 3, 2, last one. Very good. Just cross your feet. Let your knees separate, give your lower back a bit of a massage, bit of a thank you for that one. That's pretty intense. Okay, one more on the mat like this. It's just a knee squeeze. So I'm going to be bringing my knee in towards my chest and my other leg is stretching out, hovering above the mat. So nice big stretch down the leg. If you want to intensify it, just take the head and shoulders off. Looking down towards your feet. Even if you start intensifying it and it gets too much, you're better off to just rest your head and see if you can keep going with the legs. The lower your legs are down towards the floor, the more tricky that's going to feel. So you can always take your legs a little bit higher and don't stretch them quite as much. So nice and easy, nice and slow. You're definitely feeling my upper part of my core working, like underneath my rib cage. Oh yeah. 3 and 2 and 1. Oh my goodness. Well done. Right, cross those legs again. Let it go. Breathe like a normal human being, not like a Joseph Pilates human being. Take some little circles with the knee. Just give that lower back a nice massage. Yeah, lovely. Lovely, 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 lovely. Okay. Taking your feet back down towards that. In fact, I'm going to take my legs straight away because I feel like all of that's made my thighs quite tense. So I'm going to give them a little shake. And you can take your hands above your head if you want to and have a little stretch. So we've just got a couple more bits to do. And we'll have a nice cool down stretch and a bit of relaxation to finish off, just as we did last week. So I am going to start with doing some hip raises because I know we all like the hip raises. So I'm actually, you need to take your cushion away from the hip raises. And this is so that when we take the hips off, that we're not like this. We've got to try and keep this nice line in the body. So we get back to that lovely spot of imprinting, thinking about that clock face on your tummy, being really, really flat. So even if you have to take a bit of a roll of the pelvis to find where that is, then please do. Hands are flat down. Think about where your toes are in a nice parallel position in line with your hips. So and if you're not sure, have a look. Are your feet wider than your hips? Are your knees together? Are your knees together and your feet not? Like really figure it out. Have a look. And when you feel confident, yeah, you think that's about right, take yourself back down to the mat. Just draw your shoulders down. Take a nice deep breath in. And as we breathe out, you tilt your pelvis. So we're peeling ourselves off of the mat. And I want you to imagine every single vertebrae gets some attention, gets its moment all the way up. Really press your hips up as high as you can. And then breathing out to return that motion. So one vertebra at a time, like a bike chain, all the way down, really pinning that belly button down towards the mat. Take a rest, take a breath in, breathing out, tilt the pelvis first, tipping up, 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 up. Think about every vertebrae, let it have its moment, sending energy out towards your opposite wall through your kneecaps, and breathing out. So peeling, so rib cage first, all the way through the small of the back. That's the hardest bit to try and isolate, and then release. And out. It's a really good one again for lower back. It's such a good one. I used to find when I initially used to do this exercise, I used to really struggle with my lower back, and this was a bit aggravating. But I promise you now, it's no problem at all. So I did have to persevere a bit and know my limits. Know when I think, actually, that really doesn't feel very nice, then it's okay to stop. Okay. So you're pinning that belly button in, taking your time. We're going to do one more here. So breathing in, breathing out. Tilt the pelvis first. Tipping up, up, up. Really thinking about every little vertebrae, right up between the shoulder blades, getting all of your weight into your shoulders, sending your hips as high as you can, like a ski slope. Breathe in, breathe out, and peeling down. Think about that space between your shoulder blades, all the way down the spine, all the way down to the small of your back. And relax. Good. Just let your knees, hips sway a little bit. We're going to do some last couple of bits just on your shoulders. So I'm going to find that center point again. My arms are parallel above me. I'm taking a breath in. And as I breathe out, I'm stretching, reaching towards the ceiling, lifting my shoulders off the floor, but my head and everything else is still in contact. And breathing out and just letting my shoulders melt back into the mat. Feels quite mad. It makes you realize how big your shoulders are. Breathing in, breathing out, and reaching. Breathing in, breathing out, and then melting. 3 more of those. Really send those fingers, send the energy right out through your middle finger. And then really let them melt. Think how big your shoulder blades are. It feels incredible. Breathing in, breathing out. Just reaching, 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 lengthening. Don't overdo it. Just feel like you're lengthening. Breathing in, breathing out to melt. And one more here. Breathing in. Breathing out to lengthen. Breathing in. Breathing out to melt. Very nice. Just take your hands, let them rest onto your rib cage for a second. Well, I've made my nose tickle. Very nice. I quite like that one. Feels like a really, such a simple one, but it feels very nice. Right, we're going to start moving into our cool down stretches a little bit. So have a little drink of water, because once we've done the stretches, we'll go straight into some relaxation, and I want you to feel as comfortable as you can, so not parched. Initially, grab some water, and as you're grabbing some water, just grab your strap, scarf, belt, whatever it was, dressing gown cord that you used earlier on, and we're going to use them to do some stretching today. Lovely. I'm going to take my own advice and have some water as well. Okay, marvellous. Right. So I'm keeping my feet nice and flat on the mat, and then I'm going to just tuck my strap around the middle of the toe, middle of my foot, and then I'm going to draw my arms down so that my elbows hit the mat. Okay, so if you want to really pull on your leg, you can, but unless we're using elastics, which some of you might be, you need to be a bit careful because it hasn't got much give. And all I'm going to do there is I'm just going to use it to support my leg. If you want to increase the stretch, you can take your underneath foot away. If you suffer with lower back, I would keep your foot flat on the floor, which is what I'm going to do, just to support it. It makes absolutely no difference in terms of the stretch or your flexibility. It's just supporting parts of your body that need it. You take a little breath in. And as I breathe out, I'm just going to pull my toes down towards my nose and send my heel up towards the ceiling, and just feel that stretch intensify ever such a little bit. That's good. And then let it go with a breath. Stay in that stretch, let it relax. Close your eyes if you want to. Just think about where the tension is. Is it up in your shoulders now because you're having to hold that strap? Is it in your forearms? Like, is it counteracting? And then just gently let that fold in. Very good. Give it a little shake. We'll do the same thing on the other foot. So taking it into this arch of your foot, gently sliding that foot away. Now, I'm not hugely flexible, but I can appreciate that for some of you it might look like I'm crazy flexible. So just wherever you feel like, it doesn't have to be a locked straight leg or anything, just wherever you feel like, oh, I feel a little bit of a stretch there. And it's finding that bit between it being really uncomfortable and sort of quite a relief. So figure out where it is. Think about where your shoulders are, think about where your chin is. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, just let your toes come towards your face. So flexing that foot, sending your heel towards the ceiling as much as you can. You'll feel it in your calf. Nice breath. Try not to tense in your hips, in your bum. Try and be really melty. So much to think about, and it's so hard. I know it's hard. Very nice. One more breath. And breathing out. Lovely. And just let it release very gently. And let that foot melt back down. Okay, good, 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 good. Just take that mat out of the way for a moment. You're not going to need that again, your belt or whatever. We're going to do my favourite. I call it the rainbow stretch. I don't actually know what it's called, but it's definitely my favourite. So I'm pinning my knees and my feet together, and my arms are out towards the side. You'll have to come as far over my mat as I can. And I want you to let your knees just melt over to one side, but I want you to keep your knees together. So don't let that top foot slide off. So there will be a point where you're like, I can't go any further, and that is your point, and that's okay. So we've done a lot of work on your back and your upper body today. And this is going to just help to loosen that up a little bit. So you might feel after a while, oh, I think I could go a bit further. You might also feel that it's more comfortable if your feet are slightly further away. And then when you're there, you're going to fold over like a piece of paper so that your hands come together. So make sure you can see them. So my knees are together, my feet are together. If you want your cushion, please do grab your cushion. Comfort is very important. And we take a nice breath in and we open out that top hand, keeping your knees pinned together. Follow the hand with your eyes as far as you can go. It doesn't have to be to the floor. It is as far as you can go. I'm not on the floor by any means. Try and relax into your hips. Take a breath and then bring it back. You do 3 more of those in your own time. So keep those knees together, that's the most important. Follow it with your eyes. Notice if you can get any further the next time. And do 1 more of those. Following it with my eyes. And a little bit more maybe this time. And then just very gently rotating so that you can get your hand onto the floor, bring your feet open into a lotus position. So I have to adjust myself. And just letting those knees relax. So the further away your feet are, the more comfortable you're going to find that. So you need to find your place. I think I said last week, this is one of my absolute favourite stretches. I want you to close your eyes. Just let gravity do some of the hard work for once. Feel that space, feel that opening towards the inner thigh, like it gets longer, like your thighs get longer, the weight of your knees. Nice breath, be really aware of the curve in the lower back. And then when you're ready, you just fold that top leg back over. So we do the same action from the other side. So I'm folding like a piece of paper away from you, bringing my cushion with me. My knees are pinned, so make sure they're nice and together. I take a nice deep breath in. I'm following my hand with my eye, keeping the knees pinned as far as I can go. You will definitely find that you've got more movement in one side than in the other. And at the moment when you think that's it, maybe take a breath and see if you can go like a millimetre more. And bring it back in when you're ready. You're going to do 3 more of these in your own time. Try to think of your breathing. It's almost like, I call it rainbows because it's like I'm painting a rainbow. Have you remember this? You're making a rainbow shape. So let it really float. Keep those knees pinned. Get some good spiraling of the spine. Excellent mobility. I'm on my last one. And then once I get there, I'm just going to adjust myself. So you might like to come back to lotus position. You might like to be flat like so. You might like to be on your side. So I would like you to just find your preferred point of comfort. So whatever that is. And we're just going to take a minute to consider what we've done today, how brilliant it is that we've all taken this time to have for ourselves in amongst the madness. And as you're lying on your mat, I want you to imagine that you are seeing yourself from a bird's eye view. And as you're looking at yourself from that bird's eye view, I'd like you to trace a line around your whole self. And I don't want you to forget any details. Around every finger, around the small of your wrist, all the way up towards your armpit, down the side of your body, moving over the ribs, past and down the legs. Notice as you pass by the calves how they make a print into the mat. Notice the weight of the heels of each foot. Don't forget your toes, each one. And I want you to continue to trace that line the whole way around the body. Let your legs relax. Let your bum relax. Let your belly relax. Let your chin, your jaw. Know where you're holding that tension. Keep tracing that line. Don't forget any details. Don't forget your earlobes, your little finger, your shoulders, your collarbone. That bit where there's a gap in the small of your back. That bit where there's a gap in the nape of your neck. Notice how heavy your head is. Notice the tension in your jaw. Notice if your face feels like it's frowning. And try and soften that. Let it go. And as you're having this moment where you're just really being very mindful of yourself in this space right now, take a really nice big gulping breath of air in and fill every tiny pocket of each of your lungs, breathing in as much air as you can. Make yourself big as you can and then really let it all out. All the way down, keep breathing out, 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 all the way down to the very last bottom bit of your lung, the last bit of stern air, and then breathing in. And again, let it all out. And I want you to just take a few more of those big breaths. But let each breath become a little less forced. A little more normal. Until you're slowly returning yourself back to your normal rhythm, whatever that might be. And we are going to finish this session as we did last week, so I want you to stay where you are. I want you to keep your eyes closed. Keep your mind on your breath. The meeting will end, there's no need to get up, there's no need to say goodbye or thank you. Thank you for coming, thank you for being here. Thank yourselves for taking some time for yourself. Sleep well, drink lots of water. I'm going to take a few more breaths and I want you to as well, and then take your time when you get up. So stay where you are, the meeting will end. In 3, 2, and 1.